Morden Agharta already activated like 2 months ago on block 5,381,000. Morden is supported by 2 clients, which are Gas Classic version 6.1.1 and the Parity Ethereum client. Both clients report the same block hash for the Mordor testnet, which activated the hard fork at around block 300,000, also around a month ago. We have 4 supported clients and also report the same block hash for a recent block this morning. So also here the same, all clients are in sync, namely Gas Classic, Multi-Gas, Parity Ethereum, and Hyperledger Besu. The Coty testnet was supposed to fork yesterday, I believe, but it's slightly delayed due to the network getting stuck 2 times in the last month. And the hard fork on Coty is expected to activate in around 30 hours. So this will be on the night from Friday to Saturday. Does anyone have any comments on the testnets?
I have a question, and that is if there's been any systematic or programmatic usage of the testnets and or any record of transactions on the testnet.
Yeah, we submitted on Mordor a transaction that contained all the relevant changes.
So there has been reportedly at least 1 transaction.
Correct.
And that's it? Do you have a copy of the transaction?
I can send you the contract.
That'd be great, yeah. Maybe we can share, thinking about this, I think, it's important to keep this kind of testing as open as possible so that we can work together to cover all of the bases. So maybe we can, Afri, do you think it would be a fitting place to either create an issue or some kind of a tracking system where we can manage these kinds of resources and events in a systematic way? So maybe ETC Labs Core / Mordor repository or something else. Would be happy to work with you if you have another place in mind.
Yeah, we have the East Classic Mordor. Let me post the link for a second.
Okay.
The link is in the ECIP's channel, and you can just create a tracking ticket for Agharta so we can gather transactions and contracts.
Great. I know that there has been talk, and there is a link on that repository to a Mordor Explorer. Although for me the link is dead at this point, it looks like that's a subdomain of Ethernode.io. I don't know if the administrator of that is on this call yet or not, or if there are plans in the works to set up an alternative Explorer.
Yeah, so actually I think I updated the GitHub, and I know that Co-op launched 3 of them in the last week.
3 Explorers?
Yeah, I just posted a link in ECIP's channel. If you come across that links, please submit pull request. Did you see the Model Explorer?
Yep, I see it. Looks like run by Block Scout software. Yep, got it.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to cover regarding testing? Are we confident that we can move on with Agharta? Is this a silent yes or a silent no?
I think a silent yes.
Given the low complexity and that we have two cross-client testnets on Agharta already, I would also tend to assume this is a...
Okay, I would be happy considering it a silent yes as well. And I think too, one of the things I'd like to talk about in this meeting, although maybe not right now, would be to think about as we set this, as and if we set this block number for, let's say, I think the proposed date is about a month in the future. If any of these networks are to fall out of sync, to think about talking now about what contingency plans look like in the case of test failure. So will our process be to automatically revoke the block numbers proposed for mainnet on all clients in the case of a reported and validated failure? Or will we push to see if that failure's cause is resolved and sort of work with a hot fix schedule? So that's a question in Avery. I don't mean to make that the topic of conversation right now. I know that you want to sort of come to some kind of resolution on moving forward with installing block numbers for mainnets now, but I think that it's important we address that point before the meeting ends.
Okay, sure. Let me quickly comment on that because we've been through this both on Classic but also on the Foundation network. Given the low complexity on the Agharta hard fork and also the experience from Ethereum Foundation's Constantinople hard fork, I don't expect any major hiccups. I will say in case there will be a fallout on one of the testnets, then it will be most likely a configuration issue that is, but yeah, very unlikely. And even more unlikely, it's a consensus bug in one of the clients, which is also very unlikely because 3 of the 4 clients already are tested on the Ethereum Foundation network. And so I believe the chances are very low that there will be a failure. But in case we notice this, it will be most likely easier to just patch the wrong configuration or the client in question rather than delaying or canceling. So I was proposing, I was running some numbers this morning with different block times, and I was proposing the block number 9,573,000, which will happen on January 15th. On January 15th around 12 p.m. UTC. So how's the general feeling? Shall we lock this in for now, or is there any?
Sounds good to me.
Yep, it's okay to me. It's a good block number.
Okay, if anyone disagrees with activating Agharta on block 95073, let me repeat. If anyone disagrees activating Agharta on Ethereum Classic mainnet at block 9,573,000, please speak up now. Okay, I declare consensus on this block number. And congrats, everyone. We are looking forward to activate Agharta on Ethereum mainnet on January 15th.
Can we now talk about contingency planning?
Yeah, sure. First of all, do you?
I'm sorry, Afri, I think you cut out for me there.
I'm sorry. Do you need testnet, Isa?
Yeah, testnet contingency planning, which is one facet of it, but also yeah, planning for other just bugs in general, as reported consensus level bugs, no matter how they're found. What to do in the case of a potential network split.
I'm sorry, I'm not with you right now because I just noticed we also need to move the proposal to accept it. Is this something we can do right now? I'm more than careful now in doing these steps. Do we have to go through last call again, or can we go to accept it?
I'm assuming still that you're talking about 1061.
No, we are not at Aslan. We are talking about Agharta, which is
Oh, sorry. Yep.
10.
Can you give me the number? 1056.
Okay, I will propose to move Agharta to accept it with the proposed block number. So sorry for interrupting.
Okay, so it's in last call stage now. So in my opinion, as an editor and attempting to be a rule follower, it seems to me like, and I know that this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but it seems like if we make a change to the specification as documented, that would require, or at least want to place the document in a state of last call for 2 weeks before being accepted, since it is a specification change. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I just feel like it should be said, just in case. And I would be happy to hear if there are other ideas or opinions or understandings of the specification process here. I'm definitely not an expert yet.
Yeah, it's been a last call since October. I believe it's not necessarily a spec change. We are just adding the last block number as agreed in the previous call. But what we could do is we could define a review period end, as we did with the Aslan ECIP. And since it's probably not controversial, we can just set it to 7 days. So that would be December 19th, which would be Thursday next week.
That sounds like a good compromise to me. I think that the language here around last call and accepted is a little bit open to interpretation, since our ECIP here has been in last call, obviously, for 2 weeks. Technical changes that were requested have been and will be addressed by the author. So that seems like that's going to happen. Funnily enough, I'm listed as an author. Yeah, I think that actually gives people time. I think the important part of this is to give people time for review who maybe can't be on the call today, but would still have some feedback for this.
Yeah,
so I think
it makes a lot of sense.
Keep that window open. So I'm happy as an author with the 7-day period before we move it to acceptance.
Also, there is still the Kotti hard fork coming tomorrow, so this 7 days is sensible, I believe.
Great, me too.
But I also believe that we don't need another call once the 7-day pass, unless there is someone speaking up.
Yeah.
I second all of that.
Okay, that's all. I'm creating a pull request as we speak. Shall we talk about testing or?
Sure. Sure. So, Afri, you said as a prequel to this, and to in case anybody joined the meeting late, the topic is contingency planning in the case of a consensus bug being filed and reproduced or validated for any of the clients who are listed in the ECIP as being relevant to moving the networks forward. So the question is what to do in the case that any of these bugs are found. Afri's initial point was that if it's a configuration issue, then, well, I guess your point, Afri, more fairly, I think, was it will probably be a configuration issue, and so we should plan to just do a hot fix. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair point, and I do agree with Afri that a lot of these changes are quote unquote theoretically simple and have been practiced on Ethereum mainnet, but with, as far as I can tell, limited testing that's happened on these test nets with regard to these changes, and some of these clients who have significant shares in these networks do have new implementations that haven't or can't be tested on the foundations chain. I would suggest that I think I'm okay with if this can be clearly identified as a configuration issue quickly, and if the configuration issue can be resolved without nodes requiring a fresh download of anything. And then I think I'm okay with a hotfix approach. But if a potential bug is discovered which impacts what we're calling implementation as opposed to configuration, although I think I would be very careful with that dichotomy, because in my opinion configuration is implementation, then I think that that could be considered a more serious bug, and we should plan to an unknown time in the case that a serious consensus bug is found, where serious is defined as an implementation issue that can't be resolved without requiring a fresh download or fresh installation of any client. So does that make sense to people? Are there any inputs to this 2-track idea for consensus bug grading?
It seems nobody else has any comments on that. So thanks everyone. Happy hard forking, and I believe we will take the testing conversation offline.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.